and welcome to another episode of FooBar. In today's episode, we are going to talk about operating Lambda functions from Cloud9. If you're interested in watching more content about serverless, cloud computing, or software engineer practices in general, subscribe to my channel in the red button below. I post videos every week. So let's get started. Welcome to this new series on my channel. I'm calling it This Is Not a Podcast because we are going to have interviews. Finally, I'm going to start my collaboration series with other creators, and I will try to post a new video every month on this series. My first guest is Darko Mesaros. I hope I didn't destroy his name. He's a developer advocate at AWS, my colleague, and he will be talking about operating Lambda functions in Cloud9. We are going to learn about Cloud9 and how to use it for serverless development. So let's go directly to the interview with Darko. Hello, I have a guest here with me today, the first guest ever in this new series, and I want to welcome you all, Darko Mesaros. I hope I say it totally wrong, but you can correct me. So welcome, Darko. How are you doing today?
Very good. Thank you very much, Marcia, for having me here. And you actually pronounced it okay. So good on you. You did not butcher my last name. So
it sounds like Spanish, but it sounds weird at the end. It's like Rosh. So Rosh. It's like my kid pronounces like that. Rosh.
It's actually it translates to the butcher. So there you go.
Oh, okay.
Fun times.
Darko el carnicero, I will say in Spanish.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
Yes. So why you don't introduce a little bit to my audience? I don't think they know you, and I think it's great to have you here and present yourself, please.
Well, I am super happy to have a chance to introduce myself to your audience. My name is Darko Mesaros, as Marcia said. I am actually her colleague, her developer advocate working with Marcia. I'm based out of Berlin, Germany, but I originally come from Serbia. And right now I cover Central and Eastern Europe, plus a bit of Russia. Not a bit of Russia, all of Russia. And my kind of focus when we speak about tech is focused around developer tools, management tools, and all of that developer experience. So hopefully today I can share a bit of my knowledge with you all. And yeah.
That's our main topic of today. We are going to talk about operating Lambdas with Cloud9.
Ooh,
so
good.
I think it's all about developer tools and serverless, but we will get into that in a second. I know that you have been in AWS for 4 years, but you have not been a developer advocate all your life. So where you were before?
I had this, how would you call it, an amazing journey at AWS. So I started as a premium support engineer in Dublin. I used to basically help our customers over the phone and chat and email with some technical problems on AWS. So it was a pretty deep dive technical position. Then I moved on to become solutions architect in Germany for the German mid-market. Then moving on to become a specialist solution architect in the focus of management tools. And now I get to show my face to you all as a developer advocate.
That's such a cool career story.
It's 4 years, and it's a lot in Amazon.
4 years and 20 million roles. That's why you're bald.
Exactly, that's why I lose my hair, right?
You started with a full metal head.
Yes. You're just gross.
Yeah, you only keep the beard. So, and I also know that you speak many languages, and I would not say languages like Java and JavaScript. I like human languages. So
they're also human languages, Marcia.
Yeah.
But not Java. I speak my native language, Serbian, and all the surrounding languages, or what we like to call them, the Serbo-Croatian group. So Serbian, Croatian, Bosnian, Montenegrin, and all the languages in my former countries. I kind of speak them or understand them. I also speak Czech and Slovak because I used to live there for a while, and I can get by with some Hungarian. So I come from a mixed background, living in a part of Serbia which is super mixed. So you kind of have to learn those languages as well.
Wow, that's quite a lot.
Yeah, and if you know two Slavic languages, you kind of understand most of them. So I can also get by with understanding Russian and Ukrainian and some a bit of Polish.
That's my excuse with Italian and Portuguese. But then you have all these fall friends, and then you understand whatever, and it's kind of funny to have a conversation. But well. So thank you, Darko, for introducing yourself. So let's talk a little bit now about the topic of the day. I mentioned that we will be talking about operating Lambdas with Cloud9. I think the FooBarians or the people that are watching my channel know quite a lot about Lambdas and serverless, but maybe they don't know what Cloud9 is. So do you want to give us a brief introduction on what is that?
Absolutely. So, this is not going to be a talk about what is serverless and what are Lambdas. I'm just going to show you kind of a better way that you can operate and work with those Lambdas from a little tool that we have called Cloud9, right? So, and what is Cloud9? Cloud9 is this browser-based IDE. Trust me, it doesn't suck as much as it sounds. It's good. It has Vim mode, so all the things I want. It's a browser-based IDE, so integrated development environment, not a glorified text editor. So it contains all the bells and whistles that a proper IDE would need to have. So from all the tooling you would like to actually build your different kinds of applications, from the standard things such as having, stuff for JavaScript, for Python, for PHP, for all the things, NPM, RVMs, NVMs, all those acronyms are existing on that. But it also supports things such as debugging, so you can make those little breakpoints and actually see the status in memory or the variable list. So it supports all those things. And on top of that, it actually has a really nice integration with our serverless portfolio, so with Lambda functions in general. It allows you to create, test, and deploy Lambda functions from within the IDE. So
is it Cloud9 only for serverless or for everything?
No. I mean, Cloud9 is this, it's this jack of all trades. You can kind of use it for anything you would like. And it's an IDE, right? So you can write any piece of code you would like. It's not only for Lambdas and serverless, absolutely.
And for any language as well. You mentioned the Java, JavaScript, and Python, and also I imagine CloudFormation.
Absolutely.
Right? And does it have support for linting and things like that?
So out of the box, I believe it does not support CloudFormation. It doesn't have the built-in CloudFormation linting, such as CFN-lint and CFN-nag. But being that Cloud9 is not your typical run-of-the-mill software as a service, it's actually provisioned on top of an EC2 instance running within your AWS account. It's a full-blown Linux instance. So you can do things such as install any package you want. You can, you have a terminal.
So basically you can install whatever you need.
Absolutely. So you are completely free to do all that.
So it's serverless. You said that it's running on top of EC2 instance. So what that means for the users?
Well, so the Cloud9 itself is not serverless, right? So it's actually requires an EC2 instance, but it helps you run serverless stuff with it. So it's still running as an EC2 instance within your account, and I think there's some reasons behind that, because we allow you to actually provision Cloud9 on your instances, on something that's, let's say, more tangible to you. You can have a specific instance type. Let's say you want to have a graphics instances or some really powerful instance that you want to run specific compilation or tests on. You can use Cloud9 for that. Right? Myself personally, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 laptops around me, right, in my room, and I get to travel a lot, and tablets and all that stuff. And the great thing about Cloud9 is I can just bring it along with me, so I can just open up any browser and just run Cloud9. It does require internet though, so it's not an offline. It might be a problem in the airplane.
Yeah, and also you mentioned that when we were preparing for this, that it helped you to terminate your EC2 instance. So it's not that it will be there forever. That was one of the fears always when using this EC2 instance, that you will leave it on forever. So
yeah, by default it has like how do we call it, the cost saving methods. So it's the thing that's checked in like after 30 minutes of an activity, it will just put your instance in hibernation. So the only cost you will incur is for the ongoing storage, and the rest is just going to be free. And next time you click a button called Open IDE, it will just spin up that instance in a couple of minutes, and that's it. You can just keep on working with it.
And your state is persisted in the EC2 instance. So that's super cool. That's really cool. You also mentioned about when we were preparing for this about the permission that Cloud9 has, the type of permissions, and that I think is quite interesting when you are running inside that instance, what you can do with the roles and the permissions that Cloud9 gives to the user that is using that. Yeah, I think it's interesting.
Yeah, so that's great. So by default, like if you work from your laptop, right, you have to set up your AWS CLI, you have to set up all of those tokens, whatnots, right? You have to create credentials locally, or if you do it from an EC2 instance, you need to specify an instance profile. What Cloud9 does automatically, it takes the user that's logged in. So I'm currently logged in as Darko inside of Cloud9. Even though Cloud9 is running on an EC2 instance, it takes all the permission myself as Darko, the IAM user, has and uses them.
That's
so any user
cool.
any user that logs into Cloud9 basically brings their own permissions to use. So that's pretty neat.
And that's another of the features that I was quite hooked when we were preparing for this, that we were talking about having multiple users and the ability of inviting someone else to work with you. And I think that's something you cannot have in your own desktop, and that's the pair programming. And I would love that if you can show us, because I was blown away when you showed me that.
Yeah, absolutely. So should I show it to you right now?
Yes, let's do it now.
Let's actually do some screen sharing
exactly.
because
this is not a podcast. This is a video story.
I don't think people want to see my face all the time. Let's have a look at my screen.
I will keep your face on the screen. So.
All right. Okay. So I think this is it. Start sharing. Well, bam. Awesome. So now you should be able to see my Cloud9 environment. It's running inside of my browser window, and this is how it looks. As you can see, it's pretty much run-of-the-mill. You have your code here, you have your text file here, you have your terminal here. You can just do anything you like. It's just a simple, well, I would say simple. It's a very capable IDE. And just going to go step back. How do you create one? Basically, it's just a create new environment. You give it a name. Give it a. You can pick what type of instance you want. Like there are some predefined ones. You can also select. Well, basically almost any which one. Yes.
Is the free tier available for the instances?
Absolutely. So one more thing. There's no additional cost to Cloud9 besides just the instance it runs on. So Cloud9 in itself as a piece of software is just free, right? So the only cost that you incur from running Cloud9 is, well, this instance you're running it on. And if you run it 8 hours a day for a month or 21 days, let's say you run Cloud9 9 to 5 as you work on a smaller instance type, it's just going to be a couple of dollars a month. So, nice. And it's very cost efficient, I would say. And coming from a person who does a lot of workshops, provisioning Cloud9 environments to people when we do a workshop together is just great because you get this.
That's what I was thinking when you were explaining this. This is like solution for workshops.
Exactly. You get this, out of the box solution where you have all the things. Nobody has to set up keys on their laptop. Nobody has to have these packages and those packages, or having these ports open and those ports open. Just give them a Cloud9 instance. Everything's on there. Just works, right? Sometimes we just want things to just work.
Exactly.
So these are kind of the options right now: Amazon Linux and Ubuntu Server, unless you want to connect to your own EC2 instance, which you have it all set up. And basically what this will do is use SSH to configure this instance to be as a Cloud9 thing. So pretty cool. Cost saving, I mentioned 30 minutes here. Is the default, but again, you can just set up a bit of some different ones as well, and just bam, like that. Please tag your environments.
Always.
And create. So now it's basically creating an additional Cloud9 environment. It takes a few minutes for the instance to spin up and configure, but I'm just going to kind of ignore that altogether right now and go back to ours. And we wanted to mention sharing, right? Or we wanted to talk about the aspect of pair programming. Here's a little thing. There's a collaborate tab here. And you can see that what I can do here is I can add people to my environment. So let's say I go to click the share button and I add a user. Now this is a user from my AWS account. It's an IAM user sitting in my AWS account. And I have a user aptly named Marcia, right? Marcia.
Yes, that's
me. Marcia. Yes, and I will give you, Marcia, the read-write permissions to my AWS to my Cloud9 environment. Click the invite button. So it's going to warn me.
Can break everything.
Yeah, it's going to inform you. You're giving read-write permissions to somebody. It may put your security credentials at risk. So I agree. And now, Marcia, magically, if I give her this link, and I have given this link to you before, you should have permissions to log in, and we should see Marcia here jump up as basically being green. So
let's see.
Let's see if this works. Yeah. And yeah, awesome. You can see a little pop-up coming here. Marcia came online.
Yes.
Marcia shows online, and we can even, I have some chat here. I can say, hello, Marcia. Hello, FooBar. Right? So basically now we have like an online chat where we can do this here. But also, if Marcia has a file open here, I can click show location. And it will show me where exactly is she looking at right now. I can see that she's currently focused on the terminal.
Oh.
Yeah. So I can
That's
see
creepy.
yeah, it's creepy. You can actually follow people along. And if you would like go and like, for example, I'm currently opening index.js, and if Marcia would click on my name and show location, it would open basically the index.js file that I'm currently editing.
That's very
cool. Yeah, Marcia, if you can open this file.
I did.
Yes. Let me see where you're. I can see her. You can see the little purple pointer here on the yesterday. I can see that's her, and she can keep typing as I type as well. And the best kind of conversation is through comments, right? So, yeah. So, yeah, that's possible. And I think this is really useful now, especially if you want to do some. If you want to learn something, if you want to learn programming and have a buddy help you on distance, right, and remote, I think this is a very cool way to do it.
I just changed something in your code. I hope I didn't broke it.
You changed IDE.
Yes.
So, yes. that means yesterday? Or?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Cool. So
that's really cool.
Speaking of code, are we going to mention, we talk about how can we operate Lambda functions here?
Yes, that's what we are going next. But I think it's good to give an introduction about Cloud9 because I never used it before, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people have never used it. So I think now we can go to the topic of the day, that is operating Lambda with Cloud9. But I think it's good to have now a context of where we are standing.
Absolutely. Yeah. So then let's talk about operating Lambdas with Cloud9. So in essence, what we're trying to do with Cloud9 is give you the ability to create a Lambda function, work with it a bit, test it out, right? Do local and remote tests, do some debugging on Lambdas, and actually give you the ability to deploy them through Cloud9. So actually, let me close down all of these things like that. So I want to remove anything we have here. And let's create a Lambda function. So if you go to AWS resources on the right-hand side, it actually shows you some local functions. And this is a function I created before. And it also shows me remote functions, which are available within my account within this region, in this case, EU Central 1.
Okay, so local functions are the Cloud9 functions, and remote functions are the ones that you just created before.
The local functions are the one I've created locally that exist locally here. As you can see, this directory is a Lambda function. And it also shows me the Lambda functions which are existing in my account within this region. Cool. Right, so if I would open my Lambda console right now, I would be able to see these 3 Lambda functions there.
And you can in essence start working on one of those if you click on them.
Exactly. So like if I would double click on this one, it would basically import my Lambda function like that, and I have the ability to just work on it and save it and deploy it directly from here. Right?
Nice.
So it has a really nice integration with all of that. Now, let's create. I'm going to remove this one, so I don't want to confuse things. Delete like that. Awesome. Like that. So let me create a Lambda function for my own. So just a little Lambda button here. Let's call it FooBar Lambda function and give the application name, right? Now, there are some limitations when it comes to Cloud9, right? Especially when it comes to creating Lambda functions. It only supports a kind of a given amount of Lambda function runtimes per se from here, right? That's due to the support for debugging. Of course, this list of runtimes is going to just grow as we add more features to allow more debugging options for other languages as well. So I'm going to stick to Node.js because I have a working example with that. So,
and we always use Node.js in this YouTube
okay.
channel, so that's good.
Okay, there you go. Is Node.js the best programming languages?
No, it's the one that I know the best.
I wanted to start a flame war. Okay, so Node.js 12, and I'm just going to choose an empty blueprint because I don't really
One
mind what it's going to
question,
be.
is this a SAM project?
Yes. So it actually generates all the things by using SAM or serverless application model within the directory. And I'm going to show this to you actually. So
But
I want to click
actually,
next.
as you said that you can install anything, if you want to use serverless framework, you could even install it and use it as you will in your own computer.
Absolutely.
So SAM is just a nice thing to have, but it's also whatever framework you're using, you can use.
So if you prefer to click and test functions through a GUI, it's super possible to do it like that. So if you want to use the serverless framework or something else, you can absolutely install serverless framework here and just use it as you would do it on your laptop. Cool. You just have this magical cloud environment to run it in. Yeah. The function trigger, I can only choose API gateway here. I'm going to select a resource path.
But you can put any function trigger if you want to type it yourself.
Yes, exactly. Of course, this doesn't limit you in that. The only limitation is when creating it like such, you have just a few options. I think it's mainly to do with just catching up with the latest things.
I don't know, like 70 different type of event sources. So.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right.
But in this case, because it's using SAM local, and so we can test it locally, it actually will use SAM to run a local API gateway. Security, I'm just going to use none because that's secure. It's not. Just use memory standard one, and I'll automatically generate a role. Click the finish button. And that's it. So right now, what has happened here is it has created another local function called FooBar Lambda application here, right? And it has created this just blank file here, right? Well, it has just a simple lambda blank, and as in lambda blank, right? And mentioning serverless, here's the template it generates. So it actually generates a template for serverless for SAM, right? So it has a serverless function and it has lambda permissions and all those things. So This is what it generates for you. And when you click the deploy button, it's going to deploy it using this. Now, let me add some actually useful code to this. I have it somewhere else, so I need to copy paste it. No, I didn't.
Always copy pasting is pain.
Yes. So this little piece of code that Marcia tried to destroy is just a simple application that takes some parameters, and based off that parameters, it returns some value. So in this case, you give it a date, right? Is it yesterday, today, tomorrow, whatever, and it returns you an actual time and date, as an output. So normally, I mean, if you would be starting working with Lambdas, you're like, okay, I have written my Lambda script. Let me just upload it to Lambda, and then you see does it work, right? Or you can use SAM local, all those things. But in Cloud9, we kind of have it all bundled up. So if I want to test my Lambda script in this case, so let's say I want to do here, go to resources, find my FooBar Lambda thing.
So you're going to test it without deploying it.
Exactly.
Nice.
So when I do run local, so in essence, what it's going to do is it's going to execute the Lambda locally with SAM, right? And I just need to give it some payload here, and that payload is this. So basically, I'm giving it an option, which is date, and the period is going to be today. So hopefully, let's just slow this down and hope for the best.
And this is the best. You don't need to install Docker in your computer.
Nothing. So as you can see here, it took me, with me talking, it took me maybe 2 minutes to set all this up. And basically right now I have a status code, response. I have a body that basically shows a date, and that's my Lambda function, right?
Nice.
That's my Lambda function working. Now, on top of this, what we can also do is, and this is where one of the bigger aspects of Lambda functions, of local debugging in Cloud9 comes into, is we can actually do some watch expressions, right? So what that means is that I can make a breakpoint in my code on the callback here, so line 62. I can make a breakpoint. And then going to debugger, I can actually type an expression I want to watch. So an expression is something basically some outputs or some current state of variables I want to have a look at during my execution. So event.option. So what this does, it actually picks the Lambda event that gets passed, or the option value of the event that gets passed to the Lambda, or I can do event period. I can do SC, which is the status code, and response body, right? So these things you would usually maybe catch somehow in
console log,
API gateway, or those kind of things. But you would have to do a lot of console logging. You would have to do a lot of debugging. Instead of doing all of that, I'm just going to create a couple of watch expressions here and go back to my thing here. Where are you? Yes, that. Right click, click run local. And I'm just going to click this little bug icon here, right? So I click bug icon here and click run. So right now, hopefully, awesome. So we have currently paused our Lambda function execution at line 62, right? So here we can see the option is set to date. The event period has a problem because I didn't use the proper thing here. Yes. So event period, doop. Let me rerun my test. Wait. I want to make this run okay. Bug is okay. Click it again. Loading.
That's super cool because this is something so many people has asked me, how I can debug my Lambda functions, and here it is.
There you go. There you go. If you want to have a look at some breakpoints and expressions, you want to watch some expressions during your Lambda execution, you can see here. Yeah, like the event option is date. The event period is today, and those are these things that I have passed them as a payload. And going back to the debugger, we can also see the
status
code and the actual response body, which is this JSON string. So it gives us to do this and just continue on with our Lambda execution. So it's really neat. Yeah, I think it's a very neat feature, especially for. I actually did this recently. I created a Lambda function and I was just. For some reason, it wasn't accepting the payload correctly. It was giving me it's a null, right, whatever. And I wasn't sure what's happening. And I was going it the old way. I was doing it on my terminal and all that stuff. I couldn't figure it out. And then I finally got it here, and I've actually figured out why I wasn't passing it correctly. Well, actually, wasn't reading the output correctly. So here's
it happens.
It happens, yeah. So this is a great way to do it.
And so the limitations for doing this is that you can only use API Gateway as a trigger.
Yes, API Gateway, and you can currently only debug JavaScript, Lambda functions, and Python 3.6. So with more coming along.
Yeah, I imagine that more will be coming, the more adoption and feedback these projects are getting then.
Yes, so if you have an idea, please let us know.
Yes, put them in the comment below so we can pass them to the team. I'm pretty sure they're always happy to get feedback from all the customers.
Oh absolutely. I want to show one more thing. I want to show the API Gateway part, right? So it's not just a matter of testing out the Lambda function in itself. If I go to resources and I can run local, I can run an API Gateway locally. So if I do this, and I will add a post method. Now sometimes Cloud9 is a bit finicky. You have to redo this, so you get that. There you go. It could be my browser. Could do that. I can pass it on basically a test payload like the same before, but I'm not passing it directly to a Lambda function now. I'm passing it to an API gateway as a post method.
So the Lambda local is like with SAM, that you can test the Lambda no matter what is the event that triggers it then.
Exactly.
Now is the part that you can only use with API Gateway.
Exactly. Before I was just string ready the local Lambda function, nothing else.
Exactly.
Right now I'm doing it properly through an API Gateway, which is running locally.
Exactly. It's like you're imitating these HTTP clients. Instead of using Postman, you're using this thing.
Correct. And it's not just that. It actually imitates a HTTP client, and it actually imitates an API Gateway locally.
Exactly. With the right whole things that are coming.
So if I run the payload, I will get the proper response, right? As I would get with an API Gateway. I will also get the response headers. I will get the HTTP logs. So it does all of that as basically imitates an API Gateway just locally. So pretty cool, pretty neat. I think
pretty nice.
This would help out a lot, and especially if we keep adding new functions and adding different paths, and we can all test it here from the same application with multiple Lambda functions as well.
And you have not deployed yet. So
no,
this is all in your EC2 instance.
Yes. And like, let me try to actually show this to you. If I go here, and maybe we can catch it. So I'm running HTOP, which is just a task manager. If I click here, at one point you should maybe see, yes, you can see SAM CLI being triggered. Basically, SAM CLI is creating all of this and doing that stuff. So it's running all locally. There's Docker installed as well. So.
I imagine it's the same installation you need to in your computer to get this running, that you need to install Docker and AWS CLI, SAM CLI, and have Docker running and draining your battery forever if you're not using it.
Yes, and I didn't have to do anything here, right? Literally, it was all already there, prepared. And like you can see here that I currently have the Lambda Docker image running in a container locally. So, yeah. One piece of advice I must give to anybody who's starting with Cloud9, so you don't make a mistake like I did a few times. So it's actually documented, pretty well documented on our webpage, but by default, Cloud9 starts with 8 gigabytes of storage, which, if you're going to be doing something with Docker, is not enough. So there's a script on our documentation to resize your Cloud9 environment. Basically just a bash script which you execute. And if your user has the permission to change the volume size, it will just do it straight from your laptop, from the workstation. So I could basically just execute the resize me and with the size of the volume, and it would resize it. So we're going to leave a link below how to do that. I really
to the documentation page, because sometimes finding things in the AWS documentation is a little bit hard.
Yeah. I want to make sure that people follow up on this because it's important.
That's a good tip, because if you start with 8 gigas, it will run out very fast if you have Docker images. When you think 8 gigas is so more than enough, I'm just using text. Yes, for storage is more than enough. Start running Docker images and they disappear.
Exactly. And now allow me just to kind of wrap up my story with just deploying my Lambda function.
Definitely.
So
we are all waiting for that.
Oh, okay. So that's the showrunner. Right click on the Lambda application, click deploy. That's it. Ta-da. It's all the thing I have needed to deploy my Lambda function. And if I would go to like that, let me go to open up, or actually even better, let me go to API Gateway.
So we can get the URL.
Yes, exactly. So it should be deployed. Yes, it's deployed. If I go here and
FooBar application, there we are.
FooBar, yes, the FooBar one, yeah. So basically, yeah, it has the
stages.
Stages, yes. This is the one I'm looking for. Hopefully it works. Must specify date or time. Yeah, so basically, I would have to provide it with a payload. In this case, actually, let me just go to the test. Just like that. Payload would be get, and then is this because it is zoomed? No. Test get. Why can't I do a payload?
No idea.
Request?
It's a post, but I'm not.
It's a post. It's a post.
Yes, now.
Yes, you can see the response body. There you go. It works.
So now we went full cycle.
We went full cycle. We've created our application, our Lambda application through Cloud9. We tested it. We tested the API Gateway. We done all the breakpoints and expressions, and then we clicked it and deployed it to production. Right.
That's awesome.
Again, with this template, if you modify this template here by adding something like simple authentication service or any other thing, DynamoDBs, when you click deploy, that will be deployed as well. The only thing you might have when you do some testing, you will not test locally as SNS, you will test it remotely.
Exactly. But that happens the same with some locals. So
Exactly. So that's also possible. And there is an example when you do Lambdas. Basically, there's an example with SNS send message which does all that for you. So if you want to have a look at it.
So that SNS is supported then for testing.
Absolutely.
That's cool.
Absolutely.
That's nice.
So that's kind of a quick go through what Cloud9 can do with Lambda functions. Well, in general, what Cloud9 can do from having a really neat one-click deploy development environment that's basically portable across many devices, and all the features you would like to have, well, most of them, and the ability to kind of, in a couple of clicks, create a Lambda function, test it locally, debug it locally by using, expression watchers and breakpoints, and debug it together with API Gateway, and actually deploy it to AWS directly through Cloud9. I think it's an easy feature.
It's a really cool service. And I'm thinking now, for example, in these times that we might need to work from home, if you are using this, you can have your same workstation at work and then the same workstation at home, and you don't really need to carry your computer. Maybe you don't have a laptop and it just works.
Exactly.
That's some problems that a lot of people are having. They don't have a laptop. They have a huge desktop at their work, and it's like how I can take all my things that I'm working on. If you're working with AWS, you can use Cloud9, for example, and it will just works. So
exactly, and especially if you want to do some more heavy development and heavy building, such as like with Java, or if you want to do, well, this is not serverless, but if you want to do some Java and Maven builds, and if you want to do some Docker development, which takes some grunt, such as internet power, it takes some, Dockers can, heat our laptops. So technically, you can open this up on a 10-year-old laptop and do stuff as well without a problem.
Exactly, and also you can have the pair programming features. That it's also very important if you're doing work from home, because then you can be with your team all working, doing pair programming, even if you're not in the office. So I think it's a great solution for a lot of the problems that we are having currently. So
I think so as well. Yeah, it's a really nifty tool that can help a lot of people.
Definitely. Yep. So thank you very much, Darko, for being here today. Do you have, I don't know, something extra you would like to say?
One thing I would like to mention is that I started doing twice a week streaming on Twitch and YouTube and a bunch of other platforms. So I'm streaming technical content such as this. So if you want to sit down on 1 hour with me and actually build something and do something from beginner topics to a bit more advanced, feel free to join me on Twitch, twitch.tv/rob12. Marcia will put all the magic links
in the little box. Yes. So you find Darko right away.
Exactly. And feel free to join me. It's Tuesdays and Thursdays around 4 p.m., 5 p.m. CET, depends. But they're all going to be down below. But feel free to follow me there. Follow me on Twitter and LinkedIn and all of those things you would like to, all the social medias. Stay tuned for more, I guess.
Definitely, yes. And I think definitely they should go and check all your content. You talk a lot about developer tools, and I think that's something so many people have asked about, so I think you're expert in this, so they should go and ask all the questions to you. So
thank you very much.
Let's work on my side.
Any questions regarding Cloud9, please let me know. And any questions regarding developer tools, feel free to shoot them my way.
That's awesome. So thank you very much. I will leave all the links in the description box, and I hope you have a great day, Darko, and see you around.
Thank you, Marcia.
Bye-bye. That was the video for today. If you like it, give a big thumbs up. Let me know in the comments who you would like me to interview. I will try to get them on the show, what kind of topics you're interested in hearing about, so I can find experts to talk about those topics. And I think this is kind of an interesting thing to do during this time that we are at home, and it's fun to see other faces and have discussions and fun things. If you have any questions for Darko, remember that his social media and the ways to reach them are in the description box, and you can find links to everything from there, and please contact him and tell them that you enjoy his video. I hope to see you next week with another episode of FooBar. Ciao, ciao! By the way, how I pronounce your surname?
Mesaros.
Mesaros.
Mesaros. The last Mesa. Yeah, like Mesa, like
Mesa?
the table.
Rosh.
And Rosh, yes, Mesaros.
Okay. Darko Mesaros.
Yeah, but Mesaros together, so it's
yes, I did, and you can correct me. It's always fun to make stupid things.